You're the first person who's doing this, like officially. And I already have like 3 to 4 different people who have sent me poems, or I have sent poems to, who are in the process of responding. I don't want to say first what I intended, but I want you to speak about your process and through this whole thing that we have been in touch, and what this experience has been like for you.
So it's interesting because I'm not really used to writing poems in conversation, or having someone write poems in conversation to mine. I feel like both of our poems were informed by COVID, at least, or at least had COVID as their context, because you, a character in one of your in your poem, is masked and then unmasks herself to eat, and then my poem is this like lamentation at the idea that I can get dressed up and no one will see me. But it's also like, I think for me it's more than that. Um, I I made it grandiose by being like beauty itself is like veiled forever now, and so it's interesting to hear what you wrote, because you talk about like a sort of unmasked reality. For I don't mean to make a pun there, but like you're talking about actual things that are happening, whereas I'm playing with a concept.
When I see a line such as "only by our eyes," it immediately kind of it's a transcendental experience, because you're leaving it at an image that doesn't exactly have a concrete meaning behind it, that it comes with. And of course, definitely the duality of how the state is asking us to cover our faces and wear our masks, like mask wearing becoming mandatory, kind of is like ironic for me, because we actually wear a mask for the state every day. And now it's like kind of, it's not even ironic, it's kind of literal. And it gives the opportunity to talk about both masks in the same sentence, how the character is taking off one mask but leaving the other one on. Your poem, it's like a gymnastics routine almost. You're doing like these triple twist and like jump and springboard and dive, and it's perfect. It's a full score. A short poem is probably the hardest thing to write, more than even an epic poem, I would imagine. And you kind of like gave me the worst possible challenge by starting off with a short poem. That's a perfect encapsulation of a kind of beauty that is um, that cannot be stifled, even though it is suppressed, oppressed, hidden, and even maybe coy, but it's still shining through and like kind of serving as the window to the soul, etc.
I was particularly interested in the image of the slice in your poem, and I even searched it up on Urban Dictionary to figure out the ways in which you might be using it. So, um, to me, I get this sense of like, what has fate or the world dealt me, and that is my slice. And like, are there other ways in which you were using the word?
The hand that you are dealt, the amount of money that you're born with, what you have inherited, the identity baggage that you carry, the kind of material conditions, etc. All of them, you're kind of bartering the size of the, like your inheritance and your what grows in your garden, so to say. And we're all in the process of doing that. Even the act of writing a poem and bringing it to the marketplace is kind of like that. So I kind of want to get out of that form of thinking, that like we're always thinking about how, okay, how much do I have, how much does the other person have, and that kind of puts us in this loop of transactional behavior. I've always felt really sad about writing, because I like being in the company of people, and I hate the fact that writing has to take place alone. Sometimes I'm very unmotivated for that reason. That's why I end up writing in like really crowded public places a lot of times. And like this activity kind of is a way to, it's kind of validating, where I am reaching out with a poem, and like for you to say that it's good, It's like an immediate validation, and vice versa, I would hope. And at the same time, it also is like a kind of way of speaking to the moment, in the way that we are locked down and isolated, but we are also kind of craving that real human connection, which even is beyond the kind of formalities with which we were previously acquainted with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
One of the things my speaker is lamenting is just like the lack of connection, right? The lack of connection we have with each other or with the world around us. There's this sort of detachment from from beauty itself, right? Um, when you're just in in the midst of four walls, you're not going out and seeing the river, or you're not going out and meeting your friends or having any sort of contact like that. And I was going to point out too that this conversation is an attempt at connection. Both our poems relate to COVID, but we're trying to connect with each other despite all of that. Shackle. Beauty, goddess, vast shrine of desire, your night has fallen, there is no one to bear witness. In this age we know each other only by our eyes.
Open house. What we know as war is actually imperialism, she says, only with her eyes, unclenching the jaw of a Papa John's box, extracting her slice, peppered with olives like infringements on the sovereignty of an unrecognized nation whose absence is the shape of our lives, I imagine, but unmasked by the pizza. She says she's eating because she's hungry and believes she'll be a fit with insert institution run by pricks with or without dicks, to which daughters who may or may not be estranged from their fathers, who may or may not be illegally detained by dictators' regimes, may or may not apply, depending on the sizes of their slices.